What a belter week, Reds. It's been brilliant the last couple of weeks. Mo Salah's staying for his what should be the 10 years at Liverpool, so he should get his testimonial. He probably needs it as well after all that. All I don't know if he actually needs it with all the money he's going to be getting, but yeah, Virgil, the captain, our captain, the Scouser in the team, he's a adopted Scouser. He's staying for another couple of years as well, so that's good. We've locked down two of the best players in the world for another 2 years, and what that means is Liverpool are in a very, very strong position. But, let's see what happens. I'm joined by Carter. Carter's been a very, very long time since you've been on the stream. How are you, mate?
I'm very good. I'm very good. Very happy with the league part of the season. So it's been a good year. It's been nice to not see every game as like a cup final. It's actually been like this is what Man United fans and like Chelsea fans on the Mourinho stuff must have followed. It's like, oh, we can actually drop points here. Whereas like the last few years, it was like everyone was losing their rag. Like you draw to like Chelsea, who've got a good team, and you're like, oh, I'm going to lose the league now. So it's actually been quite nice to just have like a normal title winning season that most of the other teams actually have had.
We're just not used to it. That's the thing, aren't we? So it's the PTSD that we've had from the run-ins with Man City over the years has caused to kind of think any drop points, and that's the thing. Any drop points, not just you could have flexibility with 1 or 2 games, but one game here and there, and it really does cause damage. Whereas this season, with everything that's going on, Arsenal haven't been playing very well. Kudos to them in Europe and how they've performed and beaten a obviously on paper very, very good Real Madrid team. But they've come through that tie. They'll have a very, very hard game against PSG. We could, it'd be interesting to see how they get on. But yes, it's been glorious in terms of the league. Obviously the cup competitions haven't been great, and it's something that we probably do want to work on and utilize the squad a little bit more. But we're here to talk about Virgil first and foremost. What are your initial thoughts there, Carter, when you heard the news yesterday?
It was kind of just relief. I think we all sort of things have started to be leaked of like, it looks like he's signing, and Salah kind of said, but I think this was sort of the biggest sense of relief. I think he's the one that we most needed to keep. Like, I do think he is almost like the Gerrard in the team now, in the way of he just lifts everyone. Like, it's the cup final, was it last year where all the kids played? Yeah, it was last year. And he sort of lifts the level of everyone. He brings people up, he inspires people. When we're down, he is the player that sort of, I think, as much as Salah's sort of the goal scorer and the assist maker, I think he sets the standard basically every game of like, this is how good we need to be. And he actually puts himself about, which is good. So I just thought, unbelievable sort of sense of relief. And hopefully he's there for more than just the 2 years, because he definitely can be.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, we've seen over the years, certainly in possibly, it may not be a case that he will play Premier League football for past 2 years. Italian football may be something that may suit him, and you've seen the number of players that reach a certain age and certain speed in their own ability. Still obviously got it up here in the brain, but Italy could be a really, really good destination for Virgil in later years. I would hate to see that. I would want to see him in a different club shirt going forward, but it's testament to his lifestyle. I was reading up about Virgil yesterday and dropped it in the chat, and he's had a very difficult start in life. A difficult start as a footballer when he started off in Willem. Didn't really get a look in. Really showed obviously promising abilities, but Willem too didn't really kind of take a chance with him. Didn't offer him a contract. Not until another team, I will butcher the name, Groningen, I think it is, until they came in and saw promise in a very young, and I say young, 19, 20, which is, it comes to other top level footballers, is very, very late. You look at Joel Kwanzaa. I know we've probably spoken a lot about Joel Kwanzaa backstage, but his start in as a professional footballer hasn't really taken off as probably what he would like, and his ability and what his confidence. Once he went there and started performing, he actually started as a striker at Groningen, scoring a couple of goals in his first couple of matches. So they obviously saw promise in him and his ability to perform across the pitch. From there, a good couple of years at that in Holland, Celtic came in, and with Celtic, it's a two-team league essentially, but it's still a good team to be playing for, and find a style of play that really suits him. And he was scoring free kicks, and he was being the main man up there in Scotland. Again, a couple of good years there in Celtic, and he got a move to Southampton. Southampton, obviously, we saw firsthand how good he was. I remember a visit from Southampton to Anfield, and he scored, and he was best player on the pitch. He started performing very, very well at a very, very high level, and we were very interested, I'm pretty sure, as soon as possible. Now, the question I probably love to ask, the hierarchy there at Liverpool was, were we testing the waters with him moving to Southampton, a club that we had a really, a good, I don't know about a good relationship, but we took a lot of players from them. But there was obviously discourse from Lovren moving, Mane, etc., Admiral Lallana moving to Liverpool. So was there a situation? Okay, we had to try to do something. But Carter, just going back on his Southampton days, or even Celtic, and what you saw there, did you see promise in Virgil at that early stage?
I think, and I think people have maybe said this sort of about Quansah being the same age. Before I used to go to school in the morning, you used to put Sky Sports News on, sit, have some cereal, and honestly, when it would get to Celtic, it felt like every other week Van Dijk was scoring a free kick. He was dribbling through the team. Like, genuinely, if you were going to sign a centre-back from the Dutch league, the Scottish league, the Portuguese league, you'd want them to be doing Virgil van Dijk type stuff. Like, you want them to be that head and shoulders above everyone else in the league. And he genuinely was, like, every time they would play, it felt like he had an assist or a goal or a big moment, or he just brushed people aside easily. Like, I think he was like a complete freak. And I think, like, it might have been Neil, I could be quoting it wrong, I think it was like a manager like Warnock or Allardyce or someone wanted to sign him, and the club were like, no, they want too much money, and he ended up going to Southampton. It's just like there was like a lot of interest in him, and I think people liked him, but it's just people, not all routes to the top are linear. But I do think you could kind of see, like, when a centre-back is taking free kicks for a team like Celtic, you've always kind of had quite players maybe with a bit of deficiency who are quite talented, like at free kicks or set pieces. Over that very dominant spell, I think it was really impressive. And for him to be that head and shoulders and still at sometimes look quite good in the Champions League, I think it's quite interesting. And yeah, Southampton, I feel like it's one where, because we don't watch Southampton games regularly, we probably didn't see the level that he was playing at. And sometimes you do just have these really weirdly guys who are probably already playing at a world-class level spread throughout the league, but because they're not on TV every week and people aren't seeing how good they are, they're not sort of on their topical conversation. So I feel like if he'd have been at even like a Newcastle or someone like that, or a Spurs, I feel like he would have been talked up to a much higher level before he made the step to us. So I think he's been great. And for all of us, as we know, the sort of first game, header against Everton, and you're already like, oh yeah, £75 million, already a great deal. Everyone's like, it's a bargain already.
And that's the thing. So Virgil had lost a year because of a really bad ankle injury. So, for him to come back, and this is kind of a really similar scenario with the knee injury that he had with us. So he lost a year in terms of Premier League football while at Southampton to a bad ankle injury. We were still interested. We tried to make that sign in. Obviously, with the situation that we had with Southampton, they were not budging. There was obviously a call to the Premier League about the activities and behaviour that we were undertaking with how we were trying to sign their players, and rightly or wrongly, Liverpool act and act in a particular way. and it's probably very similar to what other clubs do. Chelsea, Newcastle, United, and how they approach other players. Man City, it's probably very, very similar. But they took offence because of the number of players that we took from Southampton. So it was always going to be a difficult one. I remember prior to his £75 million transfer to us, I feel that we may have already agreed or tried to sign him for a lesser fee, but we essentially bumped up the price to make up for the fact of what we did with Southampton. And I feel that we've breached a lot of the animosity that we had between ourselves, and in terms of the two clubs. It's obviously built up a better relationship, and obviously Adam Lallana's gone back on a free and whatnot, so hopefully there's something there. But yeah, when he came in, I don't know if you remember, Carter, but his first match, or his first one of his big matches, was Everton at home in the cup, and he scored, and we just felt, right, this is a player that we've got here. When you saw him in a red shirt, he just felt good. It felt right, didn't it?
Oh yeah, no, it was great. I remember that it was I think it was a Chamberlain corner, so it just felt like he was coming into form. And Van Dijk, you were like, oh, we've got this. Or you actually like, oh, he's huge. Like, we've got this big centre back partnership now. You're like, hopefully we can sort of do something in Europe or go on a good run, because this was sort of, we were still pushing for sort of top four more at this point.
Yeah.
But it was just like, we all kind of looked around and were like, we've had shaky defenses before in title races and going for the league, and it's probably time that changes. And I think probably a lot of us at the time might have been like, oh, it's quite a lot. Like, maybe I'd rather get two centre backs and someone who's maybe a good fullback as well. Maybe some people like that. I was kind of like happy to sign him, but I think it's so difficult now for all the other teams who sort of spend that money, because he's just been so perfect for so long now, and he's sort of regularly reaching like 5,000 minutes, and he just plays. Yeah. And I think this is the first time this season where the minutes have actually almost led to some form of like errors and mistakes, where I think, because he is getting older, like I think it's a big ask to be like, to play this many minutes, to play every minute for your country, every minute
exactly
for your
his country as well.
So it's a big ask, and that's why it's up to us now going forwards to manage him and Salah, and not overuse them before they get into the last year of their deal. So it will be interesting how it goes forward. But I still think ultimately the way he plays, I think he could honestly play till he's like 40. Like, I think Dante's still playing for Nice at a decent level at 41.
Thiago Silva was playing for Chelsea up until recently at a really, really good level. And as I said, the talk about Italian football and the Italian defenders, they play for a very long time, don't they?
Yeah. And him and Silva and Van Dijk kind of started playing like regularly and lots of minutes quite late, because I think Thiago Silva had like heart problems, and then he came back, and then obviously Van Dijk sort of was going from Celtic, where obviously the intensity is not as high, and he was at Southampton, so he wasn't, until like 26, he was only really playing like 2 or 3 league and FA Cup games a season and 38 league games. So until he got to us, that's the only time he started playing with like a real top workload. So I think he can go on for quite a while, as long as we partner him with the right player.
And that's the thing. So there's 2 points you just mentioned there. So you mentioned it earlier about trajectories not linear. It's not a case that and we've seen with younger players who get too many minutes, their careers and the minutes that they get through up to a certain point, and their bodies just kind of break. Whereas the other way around with this, it's a case of it's more top heavy. So he's reached a lot of minutes later on in his career and really performed at a high level. It's been able to allow him to have minutes and miles in the legs. And then the second point is it's the partnership that he has. For all the faults that Lovren had as a Liverpool player and beyond and whatnot, when he was partnered with Virgil, he looked like a good player. You could say that definitely with Joe Gomez. He had Joe probably never played, will never play any better than when he did with Virgil for a long time. Matip as well, playing for such a long time at the level that he did. We're now seeing it with Konate again. When we speak about when both of them are available and playing regularly, best partnership, certainly challenging as the best partnership in Premier League and if not in Europe. So there's things there now. I'll ask you very, very quickly. In terms of the summer recruitment, we need to start planning not just for Virgil's kind of departure, but it's a case of the drop off from Canate and Virgil to Joe Gomez and Joao Kwanzaa is far too big for me personally. That's my personal opinion. We probably do need to start getting that third high class central defender who's probably a little bit younger. I'm looking at a Dean Hewson from Bournemouth being an ideal player, comes in, learns from Virgil, plays alongside Virgil, and ultimately, hopefully in years to come, kind of takes over. Is that what you would like to do, or is there a different type of thought process?
I think I agree with you. I think Dean Hewson or Dean Hutchison, I'm not sure how you say it.
Yeah,
I think he's any team. It doesn't matter how many centre backs you got. This is why I think people don't understand with Chelsea. It doesn't matter how many centre backs you have, you go out and buy him. Like he honestly, I think he is playing at a world class level, and I think by next year he'll definitely be world class. And I think if you told us that we spent £50 million on him and he never got any better, you still have a really top centre back. Like he's so good on both feet. He's only going to grow into his body, and I just think he is like the slam dunk signing for anyone to get a centre back. Like if I was a Spanish team, I'd be pushing for him. If I was Bayern Munich, I'd be pushing for him. Any of the Italian teams, I'd be pushing for him. I just think he makes too much sense not to sign. Like, but I then do think if we can't get him, I know this is a bit rogue, but
not like you, Carter, to go rogue.
There's this Irishman who plays for Brentford, who the only issue is a bit of pace.
Yeah.
But he is so good in both boxes. Like he's unbelievably good. And if we want to maybe marginal gains and we want to get better at attacking set pieces and crosses, I think he's a player that we could target. And he definitely is one that partners well with Konate. So I think it's all about looking at who fits where and who can play on what side of the back four. But I think we'll go for Hussein. But if not, I think we could get a little bit creative, because you can generally find people out there who are ready to make the jump and are ready to make the step up that won't cost an extortionate amount. Like I think there's points where Diamande was like the flavour of the month.
Yeah.
And everyone was kind of like that. And he still is, like, as an athlete, he looks really good. But I think he is playing in a three at the back or five at the back. So I think we'll be able to find someone out there, but they've just got to be the right blend of like being big enough, being good enough on the ball. And it's just trade-offs and who goes where. So I think it'll be really interesting when we do it centre back. I agree with you though, with the drop off being too high to Gomez and Kwanzaa. As good as Gomez has been when he's been available for about 10 games.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's a case of when Joe is available, he does perform, but it's the number of games, it's the number of minutes that we need from him. It probably led to Virgil playing too many minutes and those little errors that have occurred recently. And that's not a case that it's a an age thing. It's more just a sheer number of minutes that he's been playing this season has seen a few things kind of crop in, and maybe the energy there hasn't been there like the start of the season when we were playing really, really well, certainly in defense. But yeah, that is it. Nathan Collins that you're talking about? Yeah, no, I haven't really seen too much of him, but you watch probably a little bit more football than me and certainly other teams. But who knows? Maybe there's an opportunity there to look at other players from other teams and get a bit more, just like you said, a bit more rogue. Because we've done it before. We've done it with Robertson.
Zabani's great as well. Who plays next to Hussein.
Yeah, he's really good.
He's so good as well, and he's one where it's like they're not going to sell too many players because it feels like they're going to get absolutely raided this year. Like everyone could be in for players all over the pitch.
Is this Bournemouth?
Bournemouth, yeah.
Yeah, Zabani looks really, really good. I saw him the other day, and he looked really electric when he came back on. But no, it is an interesting shout. The summer is going to be interesting. One thing, actually, let's cover this one off really quickly. Do you think? So there's 2 points that I was thinking about in terms of the negotiation and how it's working. So from a Virgil point of view and from a Mo point of view, do you feel that they've been provided a list of targets that we are probably going to be going for or made inroads to say, this is what we're going to be doing in the future? Are you happy to join? Do you think that's a possibility that they've seen Isak maybe on the list of players that we've approached and maybe have a deal with Kirkes, with Dean Houston, etc. etc. Do you think that's part of it?
I think it's part of it. I think for everyone, like there's only so much you can demand, but I think part of the trade-off, like it's easy for the club to say, well, look, we plan to spend quite heavily this summer,
Yeah,
so maybe instead of being at 450,000 with bonuses, they're at 430 because they then get told, well, more chance of me getting these bonuses or more chance of us winning if money is going elsewhere. But I think the biggest one pushing will almost be Slot, like more than the players. Like I think he wants to win, he wants to dominate. And
yeah,
I think as much as some players are young and whatever and all the players are pals, I think Van Dijk and Salah definitely and Slot probably look at a few players and go, we can definitely upgrade it. We can definitely
yeah,
upgrade here. We can get someone more consistency. Like Salah must look around at his stats and just go, like, someone needs to help me. Like, someone
yeah,
needs to come in and
yeah,
be consistent and take the burden off me. Like, there is going to be a point where I think he'll always be good, but if we maybe shift tactically or if there's like a big change in recruitment, as he gets older, there's a chance that there can be a big drop off. Like, if we signed an Isak and then Salah was playing completely differently, his numbers he might just start getting more assists and goals, and his goals might drop down, or however it works, or if he's not able to play every game. So it is going to be interesting, but I think all three will be like, we want players, and I think Hughes as well knows that he obviously wants the team to be successful. Like
yeah.
he wants to do a very good job. So I think he'll be pushing. And if you look at his time at Bournemouth, he's always made really interesting signings, like from
Really,
all
really
different
good.
sort of all over the place and like all different levels, like a lot of France and all these guys who pop up with like really interesting metrics. So I think he will really want to sort of change things up and move things. And as much as all the hit pieces sort of on Klopp have probably come out from their side, if they are true, then it means they have been trying to move people on from the squad for a long time when it was Edwards and constantly sort of reinvent and make money and push things around and change the team. So I think it will be a very eventful summer.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think the second point I was going to go on is have the club kind of pull the trigger as soon as the league is essentially on um, in our laps, you know, ready for us to kind of pick up and it's not a question of if, it's more when. It could be this weekend. We're going to come on to that very, very shortly, but certainly next week we could definitely see if we win against Leicester, well, not lifting, but winning the championship, winning the league against Tottenham. But you know, it's possibly a case that the club have now decided, okay, Slot, you've done brilliant with this squad. We're gonna reward the key players that we don't want to lose, because the money that's going to take to replace them with the quality, etc., it's not viable. And certainly, you know, if something happens with Salah next year, where it's a little bit of drop off, we've still got that value of his contract, and there's still the name, the model, the aura that you have around Mo Salah, who still would be able to kind of command a really good fee from Saudi, from America, if that's what that's what he wants to do. And Verge, you know, it's probably a case that we keep him because we can learn from him, whoever it is that we do bring in, and maybe there's a future in coaching, which I do kind of see with Virgil. I think he would be a very, very good manager because he talks well, has really good knowledge, etc. But yeah, just on those couple of points, do you think that may be something? So pulling the trigger because we win the league and rewarding certain players because they're doing so well.
Yeah,
Who
I
knows?
think it's definitely, I think part of it is we wanted to wait because imagine if there is a big injury or
Mm,
there is something that happens or obviously if we win all these competitions, like let's say we won the Champions League and the league, Salah and Van Dijk might ask for more money or there's more bonuses paid out. So I think it's quite smart for us to wait to the end. But I actually want to kind of touch on sort of Dior a bit. And I actually think for the club, keeping Van Dijk and Salah is so essential for the culture of the club because I'm 23, didn't really get to see Henry properly. I saw him score against Leeds when he came back, but when I was younger, like Liverpool, we were like we weren't very good. Like it was Hodgson, it was like the end of Rafa, and we had kind of lost that esteem, like that of players wanting to go there. And you still sometimes look at United, and they are bad signings, but they still sign older, sort of well-regarded players on these high wages, and we never seemed able to do that.
Mm.
And I think for us to build ourselves up, I think keeping Salah is going to be so key, because anyone who's grown up watching Salah now from all over, like there's going to be so many African players, French players, South American players, all these guys are going to go like, oh, Salah, he's like the second highest goal scorer in the Premier League, hopefully when he finishes. Oh, he's done all this, he's done all that. Like, I want to follow in his footsteps. And I think for a cultural thing, I think for Liverpool it's so good to have like a Galactico of their own. Like it
Yeah.
felt like from what people have said, like when Arsenal had Henry, it felt like they had the best player in the world for a few years, even though he didn't win the Ballon d'Or. Like it felt like he was maybe the best player. And for us, I think it's so important that we can actually kind of look and go, we probably have two of the guys who are in the conversation to be the best player in the world. We have Van Dijk and
Yeah.
Salah. And I don't know, obviously there was Gerrard, but also at the same time, there were a lot of very good players playing when Gerrard was playing at sort of pomp. But for us to actually kind of go, we have the best player, I think that's such a significant thing for the club. What do you think?
No, you're right. I absolutely agree. I agree that 100%. If you're a new striker that we're looking at, and you can say, "Oh, Mo Salah's still there," I'm going to be at least given opportunities to score. You know, it's not an unknown when it comes to other teams. We know if Isak, let's just say again, Isak is that top bracket player that we're looking at, and he's considering staying at Newcastle. What's the situation? We don't know. They may get Champions League, they may not. Will they be fighting towards Premier League titles or cup competitions? Who knows? There's still the unknown quantity. And then when there's with Arsenal, who knows what's going to be happening there? Yes, they have a very, very good player in Bukayo Saka, but with other areas that need work with Arsenal, and certainly with Liverpool, not to say that we're a perfect team, but there's more likelihood seeing Salah there. You know that you're going to get opportunities because he's so good, not just as a goal scorer, but as a playmaker. And we've seen that over the last couple of years. Maybe he's had a little drop off in terms of speed, but his actual reading of the game has gone to an absolute another stratosphere when it comes to Liverpool and his way of playing. His Trivela passes are just magnificent, and you can just see someone who is a natural goal scorer, someone who can read the game. It's just going to lap it up, and I think that's what we've been missing for such a long time, certainly since Bobby left.
Yeah,
so
I think we do
go
just
for it, mate.
we it's just, I think it's so difficult with Salah, because I think all you saying with like Isaac and stuff, I want us to almost just gamble on him now and just put him like just keep playing him how we're playing him. Don't almost change it. Do you know what I mean? Like I so just want him to just push Shearer. I really want, because for me it's like I love things like this. It's like Salah, a guy who grew up in Egypt, who went to play in Switzerland, who then failed at Chelsea, who then did really well for Fiorentina, Roma, came here at what, 24, 25.
Similar
There's
to
actually a
Virgil,
possibility.
isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
what I mean.
It's a different route, but the same kind of trajectory. Later on in his football career, kind of really exploded.
But there's no way, and this isn't anything, there's no way a guy that grew up in Egypt should be able to get anywhere close to Alan Shearer, because Shearer's grown up in England. He's literally, what the Premier League became the Premier League when he was in his pomp at like 22, 23. So there's never been any bad games. He was just like great he just went goal, 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 goal. But Salah, someone who's played in different leagues for different teams, who's literally come here and been here for, is it eight years now? 8 years now, is pushing Alan Shearer. Like, he's got a chance to push him, and he's passed people for Liverpool who played before the Second World War.
Yeah,
like this is ridiculous. Like, it shouldn't be like this, but that's how good he is.
Yeah, no, he's absolutely. I mean, certainly Harry Kane is in sight of Mo Salah. Definitely Roger Hunt for Liverpool, definitely in the views of being overtaken. Rush and Shearer is going to be a phenomenal effort. The number of goals that he would need to score in the next 2 years, maybe a third year, if he's close in that kind of final run in his second year, the 10th year with Liverpool. Who knows? We may offer, say, Salah, you want to stay one more season, maybe a little bit more of a bit part player because he's dropped off a little bit. Who knows? Who knows what could happen? 2 years in football is a very, very long time. There's two more leagues, etc., etc. AFCON, you need to kind of consider World Cups, etc. So there's a lot of
Yeah.
football still to be played, and whether he's still got miles in his legs, and that's the same with Virgil and what he can do. You know, from a national point of view, is there a point for him to say might need to kind of drop off now? You know, give it up to prolong a club career. Who knows? Maybe one more World Cup is something there. But yeah, no, really, really interesting. We've got a good half an hour just talking about Virgin and kind of got in Mo. The Trent situation, we'll cover it off on a different day. I think that's just a conversation. We don't know what's going to happen. I'm still hopeful that he will stay. He's Scouser, etc., etc. We've spoken lots and lots about Trent. Let's see what happens with Trent. But if there's any confidence that Trent can get is you know, the two big players staying, and then Real Madrid have an absolute nightmare, and who knows what they could be. You know, certainly the media going to turn on Madrid, already turning on Ancelotti, and who knows what will happen there. Right, so this weekend we've got the opportunity to win the league, Carter. Absolutely phenomenal that we've got to a stage middle of April. You know, not even last day of the season. We're in the middle of April, and we're talking about a weekend away from Liverpool win the league. We would need Arsenal to lose against Ipswich. I know it's away. Ipswich seem to have kind of reinvigorated themselves. Liam Delap is a good player. I think he's you've spoken about Liam Delap. Let's kind of get your thoughts on Liam and how good he is. Do you think he's actually a player that we could be interested in? If not now, maybe in the future.
I think it's really difficult because I don't want to slander Klopp, but I almost feel like if we'd had signed a good striker, or striker that fits and a striker that stays, I feel like everyone would have said sign Delap as the backup and he'll compete.
Yeah.
But I feel like now it would ask an awful lot. Like I think he's very good. I think in some ways he's a bit Torres-y, but I think it's like, is he going to sign to be in the same window as another new striker? I feel like he'd almost want to go maybe to Chelsea, and he'll look at Jackson and go, I think I can take his spot. But also for him, it's like, it doesn't mean I'm not going to have to play every single game, or also I'm not going to get any minutes. But I really like him. I think it's really good when players have a bit of a nasty streak. I think he's actually quite good technically. I think he's got that sort of Sturridge Torres sort of step over to get the shot off. So I think he's really good. What do you think about him?
Yeah, no, I think he's a really, really good player. I think certainly since the Ipswich, I know we're talking about Ipswich when we want to be talking about Leicester, but I think it's an interesting one. What we're seeing from Ipswich is they've kind of loosened the shackles somewhat since they know that they're going to be going down, and because of that they've become a little bit more free flowing. I think they're a very, very good team. Will be back, I'm sure, if they keep the same management, if they're able to keep the star players that they do have. Liam is a very good player. It's a far cry from his old man, who is a completely different player altogether. He has all the trademarks to be a very, very good striker in the league. Very direct, very strong, has a good finish, can finish with both feet. You know, it's just a case of whether a team is willing to take the chance, and whether he can keep on being consistent. That's going to be the key thing for any young player. We've spoken about it, haven't we, about Joel Kwanzaa, and whether Kwanzaa can be consistent from now until, you know, when he makes himself a little bit more established, and whether that's at Liverpool or a different club, who knows. It's always been the case. The same thing with Harvey Elliott, with Jones. We've spoken about a number of players, younger players, that can't seem to keep on being consistent. They have good games every now and again. That's going to be the question about Delap. But yeah, that's Delap news. We were going to be talking about Leicester as well, but yeah, Leicester. It's a strange one with Leicester. They've just not performed at all season. They've had the odd result against Spurs, but other than that, lost every game. How do you feel about the upcoming fixture? Do you think it's just a case of, right, let's just get the win? We've made it difficult for ourselves recently, but do you think this is one of those situations where it should be a walk in the park and we just get ourselves over the line closer to number 20?
I think, honestly, I think Leicester, I know Southampton have been terrible, but I actually think Leicester have the worst team in the league. I think Southampton was kind of down to Russell Martin, and I think after about 12 games, they're like, oh, we're relegated. So I think that kind of just killed everything. Whereas Leicester at the start got a few results like Buonanotte, like he did quite well at the beginning, scored a few goals. But I think yeah, this should be a game where I think if we, as much as sort of teams play with a bit of freedom, I think for Salah this is a massive game because this is the opportunity to go and put some stats up and go and get 3 or 4 goals and assists just to boost your numbers even more and push us to the league because there's probably no better feeling if you're Salah if you maybe score a hat trick on the day you win the league or just go out and make the day good game, make the game sort of iconic. But I feel like this should sort of be sort of steamrolling and we should just absolutely just not have to get out of first gear, maybe give some of the other guys a few minutes. But it wouldn't surprise me for the rest of the season if we just start as the same team. But we'll just have to see. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I really would like it if we didn't play in just a single gear. I really would love us to play in a higher gear, something that we've been able to do in the first half of the season. I think the issue is just the sheer number of minutes that we've played and the number of minutes that certain players have played throughout the whole season has been an issue. But now that we've come to a stage where we're playing once a week, it just allows us to recharge the batteries and go up levels. That's what I want to see. I really want to see us kind of put the foot in the neck, if that's what you can call it. Really take them to the sword and really do what champions do, not just have a championship result where we grind it. I just really want to put a marker on everyone and say, actually, we are the best team in the league. We are the best team, but this kind of cements that and just essentially says, right, come Tottenham game, we're going to win that one as well. But in terms of the team itself, I don't see there's going to be any shocks. I don't believe, but Alisson's going to start in goal. Trent is going to be potentially on the bench, which is good. Good to see. Bradley's back. I'm guessing that you'll be happy to have Bradley rather than anyone else, and then the rest of the defense kind of speaks for themselves. What are your thoughts about the defense there, Carter?
I think the defense is honestly like flip a coin on Robertson and Costas because at this point it's just not being great, to be honest. Like I feel really sorry for Robertson because I feel like sometimes it's like when Carragher said to Casemiro, you have to know when to leave the football before the football leaves you.
Yeah.
And I feel like and it's not a bad thing. Like Liverpool fans always have this really sort of glowing view of him, but now when you actually look at the end, like Ashley Cole went to like Roma and LA Galaxy and Derby, and no one really saw the end. So everyone has this sort of pristine view of him in their heads, and you're like, oh, he was just great. Whereas now I think Robertson, like, it's honestly like he was throwing the ball in his own net. Like it was at times, it's actually been like, it feels like there was a year where everything went down Trent's side and went in, but now it feels like it's going down Robertson's side or Robertson's involved. But I feel like left back's flipping ahead. Honestly, there's absolutely no choice and no chance anyone else plays at centre back. And I say Bradley, but I actually wanted to ask you, neither of them had started a Premier League game yet. Who has more chance of making a start, Endo or Elliot?
Making a start. I think if anyone, I see a role and a hierarchy. I think that's the key word. And I was listening to the Anfield Wrap yesterday, and another excellent podcast. If you get a chance to listen to that, people just give them a shout. They were talking about hierarchies in terms of who's first and second sub. Endo is higher in the hierarchy than Elliot. Elliot's probably sixth or seventh midfielder in the current setup. I think Endo is higher up. We know that Slot doesn't make any major changes to his starting lineup. Gravenberch is always going to be his number one kind of deeper midfielder. McAllister is always very, very good. What we've seen recently, though, is Szoboszlai was dropped. What was the reasons behind that? We don't know. Jones is probably higher in the fourth slot, and then Endo's in the fifth. And I was talking about Elliot being probably in the sixth position. I think if anyone is to start a league game it probably would be Endo, because he's done so well. He's taken a bit of flack from the fan base, but he's always given everything when he's come onto the pitch, and he really does deserve a league start as well. I don't know. What do you think? I know there's been a little bit of conversation about Elliot and whether he would start or what influence he has, but I don't know.
I feel like Endo, and I almost like, I think if we are going to sign someone, I know you kind of shouldn't do this. I'd almost like, if we got towards the end of the season and we did properly chop and change, I actually quite like Endo to captain the team for one game. Like, if there was a possibility, I think that would be something nice, because that's what you want. He's come in. Has he been? Now I know people have mixed points. Has he been Moises Caicedo, who was the number 6, who we thought we were going to sign for a few days? No. But has he been a player that's actually sort of turned up? He's put his foot in,
reliable,
played hard. Like, there were some games like where he did look quite bad, but also he's not like, we shouldn't have this expectation that he's going to be like Rodri or he's going to be like Declan Rice. Like, he has his moments and he has had some games where he's been unbelievable, but also I think he's the only one like Maka sort of in the midfield who actually is a bit nasty. And I think in some games we have really, really needed that. And I think it was the City game last year where he actually on the ball was like genuinely like
really
very,
good.
very, very good. And that was probably the best performance he's had. And that's all you can ask. And I think, I hope he does get a start. Elliot, I think, is really difficult, because it's like, if we're losing, we just stick another attacker on. So he never really ever gets a chance. But I feel like Endo might.
Yeah, I would like that as well. I would love to be able to do that. I think, the midfield is one thing. Do you think Szoboszlai does come back in into the team?
I honestly, I think he might just play Jones, just because I feel like it's just Szoboszlai has just ran around like a madman. Like, I almost think is that at this point, just give him a bit of rest, because he is just the one who's up and down, and he's just consistent. Like, he's stopping transitions. He's part of transitions. I just think now I would start, once the league is kind of secure, I'd start to bring down the minutes of certain players. Like, I think Konate, kind of wrap him up and be like, we don't really need to play you 90 minutes every game. I think Bradley's hard. If we had another right back, I kind of protect Bradley a little bit as well, as much as he needs minutes.
Yeah, no,
I think it's just anyone who you think might pick up injuries, or anyone we're looking to sell for good money, I'd kind of, once we've won the league, sort of protect them a little bit. As much as maybe Slot might go, well, I want to get 94 points or whatever the maximum amount of points we can get. I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, exactly. I think I want us to win. I want us to win well. I think it's just a case of doing rather than just saying. So we just need kind of the guys to kind of step up and see how we get on. I'm just conscious of the time. I know you need to get off, but let's just kind of get a little bit of match predictions. I'm sure that we'll both say that Liverpool will win. Do you think it'll be very easy, or do you think we'll just make it very difficult for ourselves there, Carter?
I honestly, I see it going two ways. I'm gonna pick the better one, but I see it being like 5-1 or 2 or 5-0 or 2-1 to us.
Yeah.
Like, I think if we score early, I think it's just, you could go almost as high as 6. Like, if we get an early one, because I just think they'll just be like, oh, it's Liverpool. We haven't got much of a chance. I think Leicester are quite a down tools team at the moment. So I feel like we can definitely, and I hope we do, and I hope a load of guys get on. I feel like it'll be Jota, Diaz, Salah. So I feel like Diaz will probably have he seems, from memory, to have quite good games against Leicester, and so does Salah.
Yeah, so and he seems like he's found his second wind or third wind, whatever you want to call it, this season. So yeah, really, really interesting. I'm going to go with a nice 3-0. I would be happy with that. A couple of goals from Salah would be great, and then something from another player. I would love to see Cody get another goal. I always like Cody. But yeah, Carter, it's been brilliant. It's nice to have you back on the streams. We're going to do this a lot more. I know it's a bit of an odd timing, but just want to say thank you to all the comments. We've had some really, really good ones. The people that are watching live, thank you. People that watch post live, yeah, hello. So we'll be back hopefully tomorrow when we're talking about one step closer to sorry, not tomorrow, on Sunday. losing my days because it's bank holiday Friday here, isn't it? So let's see what happens there, people. We are very, very close to this league title. We have the best 2 players signed up for another 2 years, so things are looking very, very rosy there, the Reds. We'll be back soon. I just want to say thank you to everyone. Hit those likes, hit those subscribes. Join us again. We're going to be bringing a lot more content. And I just want to say again, thank you to everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.